myself up on the chair here. So we will see if we get folks to talk to today. Let's have a look. And let's see. Hello, anybody? Oh, I see people popping up. That's lovely. Awesome, awesome. We do have people. It's Tuesday. Yes, you can check that off on your calendar. It is Tuesday. We have 12 people now. Yay! So, yes, it is Tuesday, and yes, it is time for our Facebook Live for today. I am flying solo today because Leah apparently has children who are doing things, she says. So she is headed off home to look after her kids, get them to whatever events it is that they are scheduled for. So she asked me to talk to everybody about a couple of things coming up, just to remind you. And I'm supposed to start with this. This is the cutest little camper. I think our Nancy made this one up. And this is a reminder that coming up tomorrow, we have an OESD virtual event scheduled. It is a free event. It is scheduled for 11 in the morning, local time, and it is going to be about 90 minutes of an OESD presentation about all of the wonderful things that OESD provides to us, so we provide to you. Some great ideas, some great tips, and some great projects coming your way. As I say, it is a free event. You can find out any more details on our newsletter from last Friday. So I know, for instance, that there's going to be some discounts available on OESD products. And these are going to be time sensitive, so they're not going to last forever. So tune in tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. I think the link is actually posted right in our newsletter. So that will get you into the broadcast and let you make yourself a little camper. I want a little people to be inside my little camper, but it didn't come with a people. So, and beyond that, of course, anything that you do happen to see at the OESD event and you want to order, remember, if you order it online, it's going to qualify you for our Summer of Savings draw, Summer of Sewing, and put you in the running to win a sewing machine. So, a couple of great things coming up, lots more on the schedule as we get further on into the summer, but those are the two big ones that are coming up right away. So it is a summertime Tuesday. I checked my phone before I came in here and it said Calgary was 28 degrees and a little bit cloudy, a little bit hazy. We've got some smoke blowing over from BC. So I thought, this is a perfect day to talk about Christmas cards. Yeah, it will sneak up on us before we know it. And we just got in two of the cutest Christmas fabric lines that I've seen in a long time. So we're going to start by showing you some of those. You can see them kind of spread out here behind me. We have this guy here. This is what I'm going to be demoing today, is this. Isn't this adorable? Like that. And of course, with the coordinating fabrics, with the puppy dogs, we've got polar bears, we've got one here just with Christmas ornaments on it. And then my new all-time favorite, and yes, I've actually bought some of both of these lines, is this one, the gnomes, like that. Let's fold it out, give you a little bit better picture of that. There we go. And the thing that struck me about both of these particular bolts of these particular lines is how often do we look at something like this and we go, yes, it's adorable, but what am I going to do with it? Because they're not super huge little images on there. So I have for a lot of years now made Christmas cards out of fabric. And a lot of times you can fussy cut them. But if you're not into doing a lot of fussy cutting, something like this that is printed already in squares is the ideal way to start making fabric Christmas cards. It's not hard. I'm going to walk you through a really basic approach, and from there you can make it as elaborate, as fancy, as detailed as you want. You can sew on it, you can paint on them, you can embellish them any way you like. But that's what I see when I see something like this with these squares already marked off on the fabric. My brain just goes, yeah, let's make Christmas cards. So let's show you the basic principles. You're going to start with, obviously, some cardstock. This is just basic cardstock that you can pick up at a craft store or it's a office supply store, depending on whether you want fancy papers or colored papers. It's pretty basic. If you don't want to start with plain cardstock, remember that in our Kimberbell line, we do have 2 sizes of cards already prepared with the envelopes ready for you. So those are an option as well. But some images just call for a larger card. So you're going to start with a piece of cardstock. You're going to start with an image from your fabric. And then you're going to back that image with fusible web. I've got mine already ironed on to the back of my fabric. And my personal favorite is Heat and Bond. It's just what I've always used, and I've never had a problem with it. I think what I like about it is it sticks well, and it's not that hard to get the paper off the back. But whatever fusible web you like to use, you're going to iron that to the back of your fabric, and you're ready to go. But before I actually start fusing this guy down, I'm going to do a little planning and a little preparation. So we'll switch camera feeds. So I would take my piece of cardstock like this, and I would take odds and ends of ribbon. I would take maybe bigger pieces, contrasting pieces, smaller pieces, and just sort of play around a little bit to see how I wanted to arrange the parts onto my cardstock. And I save all kinds of little guys. I save those guys. Those were done with a punch. If you ever get into this, you will end up, as I have, with drawers full of goodies. All kinds of little punches, stamps. I didn't bring my stamps today. So the first thing you do, you get your pieces and you decide on your design. So it's not hard. You have kind of fun. You punch an edge and you say, yeah, I don't like that. But remember, it's only paper. It doesn't matter. We're just playing. So I've already got mine kind of sort of sorted out. And I'm going to use a couple pieces like this of the red cardstock as a contrast. Now I could have taken this, I want to turn them right side up, and I could have decided to fussy cut around these little guys, but that does make it a little more challenging, and I think I like this background. I love those little stars on there. So I think I'm going to use him just the way he is. And I used my rotary cutter and my ruler to give it a nice square edge. So I am going to show you how I have set this out. I set that out like that. You have to think in terms of layers. So I started with something like that. Let's turn the guy around so you can see him. And that was pretty good, but it needed a little pizzazz. So I went upstairs and I raided Dawn's ribbon bin for a little strip of green ribbon. And I think something like that. I tried putting the ribbon underneath there, but hey, that hurts the eyes. Red and green, complementary colors. So I think I'm going to use them like that. We can use a slightly smaller piece. Line him up right about there. And we're going to take another piece down here. So visually, I like to get everything lined up before I begin sticking anything down. I think that looks pretty good. So take off my top layer, take off my second layer, and I'm going to start with my pieces of ribbon. So I can stick those down in a couple of different ways, but I'm going to use good old glue. I have two basic things that I like to use when I'm sticking stuff down, and I will often start with a glue stick, especially for paper, or if I want something even faster, I just have a roll of very narrow two-sided tape. So for the ribbon, I think the glue is going to work the best. I'm going to use a wee scrap here. Let's see what kind of paper we'll use. We'll use one of these. Just going to use some scrap paper and turn my ribbon over on it so that I can put the glue nice and firm on. Ew, I think my glue's getting a little old. Well, it's almost back to school time, isn't it? Take a quick measurement right about there and stick that down. The thing with glue, it's not quite as precise as the two-sided tape. I'm gonna give that a little snip with my scissors right there. Take the second piece, put it upside down on my scrap of paper here. Give it a good coat. Woo, stretchy glue. Yes, this glue stick has definitely seen better days. There we are. It's what happens when you buy things in bulk, eh? And we're going to fasten him down. There we are. Now you could also use fusible web under your ribbon. That would work quite nicely. Trim this guy off. There we are. Now if I've got a little end like that sticking up, it's a little hard to get your glue stick underneath there. So this is where your two-sided tape can come in handy. You just take a little piece of that and tuck it right underneath there. Remember, these are cards, and much as we might like to think that our friends and relatives hang on to them forever and ever, they probably don't. So we want to make a nice job of it, but it's probably not going to be around forever. No posterity here, but they are a lot of fun to make if you like designing with fabric. There we go. I'll hold that guy down. So now my red cards are going to go back on there. And I'm actually going to use the two-sided tape because I find it gives a really nice secure hold. And I don't have to worry about it oozing out of the edges. So a couple of strips on the back side like that is all you need. A lot of times everything that you put onto the front of a card, it's nice if it almost looks like it's floating. So I'm going to line this up like that. Move that this way so you can see. So you can see I've kind of aligned it so I have a little bit of an edge around there. Let's do this guy. How's my I see lots of people. Hi, Sandy. Oh, and visiting us from Sudbury, Ontario. And Carol Gilchrist is here. Maureen says it's never too early to think Christmas. I was making machine embroidered ornaments earlier today. Way to go, Maureen. That is awesome. Yes, it is. I love Christmas. I could do Christmas just about every week of the year. But like most things, it's kind of like chocolate, you know. If you don't have it for a while, that's when you really, really appreciate it. Rhonda's saying that she's got tons of card making supplies and she can expand her options. And it's true, Rhonda. I just love some of the fabrics that we get in, but I was going to say you can only have so much fabric. No, we can't have too much fabric, but sometimes we see those fabrics and we love them and we don't know what to do with them. Okay, so I have my two red pieces there. So now I can take the backing paper off of my fused fabric. And of course I love fussy cutting, so a lot of my cards are fussy cut. Now make sure I'm opening this the right way because I'm kind of working upside down, and I can set that right there. And I have my iron heated up. I've just got one of those little travel irons here, and just fuse that fabric down according to the directions that come with your fusible web. There we are. So that could be done. Or we can carry on from there to do even more embellishing. Let me show you some ideas that I have used in the past. First off, I'm going to show you, I think I'll switch cameras here. Let's go up to, where'd it go? This guy. Okay. I used my little travel iron. It works really, really well for fusing things. But when I'm card making, quite often what I'm fusing down, like if I wanted to fuse that ribbon down, that big iron just might have been too much. And of course, you don't want to use steam. I love the little Clover mini iron for card making. It gets into all those little corners. If you've missed a piece, you can tuck a little bit of extra fusible in there and iron it down with this. This is almost essential. I even use this, because who doesn't love cards with bling, to iron on the hot fix crystals that we sell. So this, I like this one. This one's called Light Siam, so it's kind of a red with a little bit of gold over it. So you can embellish your cards with hot fix crystals, and I often use my good old Clover iron to hold them on. Of course, also in the Kimberbell line, lovely little packages of ribbons. This one's got some baubles and some fringe on it that would make great little embellishments to cards. Of course, there's always buttons. Buttons and beads and bows can be added to your cards. If you're going to add a lot of embellishment to your cards like that, just remember that they probably don't go through the mail really well. You don't want them getting brushed off or knocked off as they go through the machinery. So maybe save some of that sort of stuff for the cards that you're going to hand deliver, like people at work. You know, I hand deliver my cards here. You can use, these are the Kimberbell watercolor pencils, so you can add embellishments to your cards with those. Give it a little brush with that and give a softer look. That would go particularly nicely if you're working with these little gnome guys. I didn't bring any markers in, but what I would most often do once I got the card to this point is I would start putting little, Anne calls it pen stitching, little dashes and dots around the edge, and it's amazing how that finishes off the card. So we've got, let's say, the front of our card pretty much done, but we don't want to forget about the inside of the card. So this happens to be a light color cardstock that I used. It's not going to be a problem to write a greeting on there. So it doesn't really need a space for that. If I had chosen to use a red cardstock, that might have been a little harder to write on. So then I would take a piece of cream or white and put a little area on there that's going to show up some greetings more appropriately. But since I have a cream cardstock, we've lost our feet. There we go. Since I've got a cream colored cardstock here, oh, now why did you not fuse? Yeah. Ah. Yes, if you wish to fuse things down, it is a good idea to make sure your iron's hot. I don't know. All right, so we have got, there we go. So we've got a cream colored cardstock. So when it comes to the greetings that you are going to put inside, let's get that hot. I was pretty sure that guy was hot. We're going to give it another little press because we don't want to lose them. That's better. And yes, it's okay if you have paper or ribbon underneath that you've already used a glue stick on. You can still press over top of that, because even if that releases the glue a little bit, what you're fusing on top is going to help hold it down. So not a big problem. So now I've got the front of my card mostly done. I might put a few sparkles on there. I'm going to work on the inside. So we don't want to forget about the inside. We can add pieces of card. We can add, where'd they go? Put a couple of snowflakes on there from the punch, like that, if we want. And maybe a little green bow would be pretty. Sometimes what I like to do is I save last year's Christmas cards or multi-year Christmas cards. And at home, I'll use the fronts of Christmas cards for my package ties, my package labels when I'm wrapping all my gifts. But I will use the greetings from inside to put inside the Christmas cards that I make. So I'm just going to come over here. I'm going to get my ruler and my rotary cutter. Oh, heaven forbid we're going to use it on paper. But you can always get a second rotary cutter, or you can get a blade that you reserve strictly for paper cutting. So you can cut your last year's card greetings. Oh, something's kabonging. And I see Adrian is joining us. We watched the new products this morning, Adrian. Looks like fun. So there is my greetings. And again, I could punch a fancy edge. I could cut that with my pinking shears or with a ripply rotary cutter blade. But I think what I'm going to do, because I like that, and I like that on the red, that's kind of nice. I'm going to cut a piece of red cardstock. Out there. So now I have the inside of my card. This is the same width, and I don't know if I really want it the same width. So I'm going to trim a little off. This is where your quilt math kind of comes in handy. You can figure out with your ruler just how much you want to take off. I like about a 1/4 of an inch reveal. There we go. So I can mount that right there. And I'm going to use my tape because I don't trust my glue stick. I think I'm going to have to replenish that before I do too many of these. That two-sided tape is just so easy to use. Makes a bit of a mess with all the strings lying around. Here we are. I'll just peel this off and line that up nicely right there. We'll just repeat the process here. So again, you could certainly trim pieces of your fabric line and use that on the inside of your card. If you have the paper punches, you can punch along the bottom of your card and put some fabric on the inside. There we are. So now I have a greeting inside my card, and I still have room to write my personal note on the bottom. So lots of fun with fabric that quite often we don't know what we're going to do with, just because we bought it, because we love it, but then we go, ah. My other go-to is to make a tablecloth, and I will often do that out of gorgeous fabric. I'll show you, in fact, one more way of getting a greeting onto your cards. If you don't want to cut up last year's Christmas cards, you can buy stickers that you can put on to a piece of cardstock and other embellishments. You can even print a greeting with your computer and cut out that piece of paper and then layer it with your cardstock and add that to your cards. So it's a great way of using that fabric that you love, but you're not really sure what else you're going to do with it. Which brings me to one more piece of fabric, because Dawn and I were talking about this as she was setting up this beautiful display. And I want to pull this guy because he's kind of special. This is part of that same blue gnome line. It's called Keep Believing, and this is a double border print. But what's different about it is the size. This is 54, what does it say? I don't think it says specifically, but if I roll this guy up like that and compare it in size to a standard bolt, you can see it's, well, I don't know if I can lift it. There we go. It's about that much bigger, double that much. So being that size, we were going, well, what would you use it for? How could you use a 54 to 60 inch wide double border print? And it would make a great tablecloth. It would make a tree skirt if you cut it in wedges. There's lots and lots of things that you can do that are going to let you explore that gorgeous, gorgeous print on the bottom. So yeah, we're full of great ideas here, even if it is a little bit out of season. But remember, when it comes to Christmas fabrics, now's the time of year when the stores are starting to get in their product. And once it's gone, it's gone. So if you see something online, you see something in our Facebook shop, you see something in the store and you go, yeah, well, maybe I'll just wait. I'll see. Buy it. If you love it, buy it. And if you love it, use it. Because if you delay too long, 5 years from now, you won't love it quite as much because you'll love something else instead. So great ideas. And I'm always happy to see some of your ideas. If you're in the neighborhood, you want to drop in and show me the cards you've been making, I'd love to see them. That's about all I have for today. I have to come up with some ideas for tomorrow because our Sandy's away. So somebody else has to do Wacky Wednesday. I'll see what other wacky ideas I can come up with. So until I see you next time, have a great middle of July Christmas card making session. Take care, everyone, and we'll talk to you later.